With the biggest story of the day, and that is the news that DeWanna Bonner is no longer with the Indiana Fever. It was reported last night that DeWanna Bonner had no intentions on returning to the Indiana Fever, and then the news broke today that the Indiana Fever had indeed.
DeWanna Bonner believed she could simply resign on the Waltz and Indiana Fever in any team she desired, but reality struck her suddenly. Like teams on a freight train across the WNBA will not come near her with a 10-foot pole after observing her. Left her teammates in the middle of the season. Karma is currently striking in a different way. You believe DeWanna Bonner is deserving of. Other teams banned you after what she did, people, and we're seeing one of the most fulfilling instances of immediate DeWanna karma in WNBA history at the moment. Bonner made the decision to simply give up on. Caitlin was abandoned by the Indiana Fever. In the middle of the season, Clark and her teammates assumed that teams would be lining up in some way in order to sign her, but guess what? The truth just presented her with a chilly plate of repercussions. And it's quite tasty to watch.
Statement. She said, "I want to sincerely thank the Indiana Fever for the opportunity to be part of the Fever franchise. Despite our shared goals and excitement heading into the season, I felt the fit did not work out, and I appreciate the organization's willingness to grant my request to move on, particularly at this point in my career. I wish the Fever great success as they continue to build around this dynamic group of young players."
Going on that completes this circumstance even more uncomfortable for Bonner. The Fever has waved at her. It implies that any league team might. She would get her if you claimed her off waivers. Entire pay, including the $200,000.
If another team claims her off the waivers, she gets her full salary. She gets her full salary if another team claims her off the waivers.
That's a substantial sum of money. You would assume that teams in the WNBA would be seeking a seasoned athlete with wrong championship experience.
That makes DeWanna Bonner look really, really bad. It makes DB look really, really bad. And it's the fact that she has told all other teams, other than the Mercury.
According to reports, Honor has told only one team in the league, aside from the Phoenix Mercury, should not even bother attempting to sign her, but she's essentially pretending to be a free agent who receives to choose where and when she travels. Actually, she's ruined products that no one wants her to pull a Ben Simmons move, refusing to leave and insisting that you only visit one particular squad while disregarding the fact that she has a contract with them. The sheer insolence of this woman is. Her signing with Indiana is stunning. Takes their money and reaps the rewards of being connected to the largest tail while posing for women's basketball. Plays are covered by Sports Illustrated in front of full houses, and when things don't follow her exactly, she simply quits. And she now believes she can choose the conditions to the league as a whole regarding where she will play now.
And look, I understand it's where she wants to go. Why didn't she go there in the summer? We know why, because she couldn't have got her max contract. And by the way, people are like, oh, they can give her the minimum. No, they can't. The Phoenix Mercury can give her a prorated $80,000 salary for the rest of the year. So she's only going to lose about 30K-ish. And she's going to lose about 40, 50K. Whereas they would have been only able to sign her earlier on. Well, they would only be able to sign her for nothing. Because again, we can't forget as well, the Phoenix Mercury cut Sevgi Uzun. The Phoenix Mercury have a bunch of players signed on hardships and a bunch of players that they can cut. Like they literally cap space magicked up. And as soon as cap space magics up for the India or for the Phoenix Mercury.
However, this is where things really get. Bonner the Phoenix's embarrassment. The only team she truly wants is Mercury. Allegedly aren't even certain they'll join. Want her no more? Give that some thought. Second, she strained her relationship with Indiana, especially to compel her to travel to Phoenix. Phoenix is presently examining this circumstance, wondering, do we truly want an individual who leaves their team when things are difficult? The Mercury are are having fun with their young central group of role players who have purchased winning games into their system, with athletes who genuinely wish to be individuals who will not desert the team as soon as something goes wrong. Their manner, why would they wish to interfere? That connection for someone who simply demonstrates her unreliability. Let's discuss the commercial aspect of this catastrophe. If Bonner had been claimed off by another squad waivers, she would have received her complete $200,000 in compensation. However, due to her insisting that she only traveled to Phoenix, very certainly going to sign a minimum prorated veteran amount of approximately $80,000. She is genuinely wasting her money, $100,000, because she believes she is capable of manage the venue where she performs after leaving on her group the reality that the team in the league is avoiding. She provides all the information you need to understand how this circumstance is being observed by coaches and league GMs, are examining Bonner's actions and pondering whether she will leave Indiana when. What can stop her when they most need her from leaving us, which isn't the kind of standing you'd like to have in a league with just 144 spots on the squad. The entire circumstance makes Bonner appear extremely self-centered and short-sighted. If she had a strong desire to play for Phoenix, therefore, she should have signed with them, but she didn't. Initially, during the period of free agency, everyone was aware that the Mercury were. Everyone was intrigued by her and knew she had a connection to Alyssa Thomas. Everyone knew she wanted to go there. But she went for the cash and the attention that was included in signing in Indiana. Rather, she is now attempting to have both methods to steal Indiana's funds and publicity, then push her way to Phoenix when it's scheduled to. That's not how it's convenient for her working in professional sports, and it's absolutely not how you establish confidence with groups and colleagues. The worst aspect is the impact this has on the other young people and Caitlin Clark. These players are on the Fever admired Bonner as an accomplished leader, someone who was meant to mentor them, with the strain of performing for the league's most closely watched team. Rather, she demonstrated to them that when get tough, you can just give up and go for a stroll away. That isn't leadership. Desertion. In particular, Clark was thrilled about having fun with Bonner was evident in considering how much work Clark did, establishing a rapport with her for the first time in her career. Clark has basically been informed by someone that she admired their refusal to play. That must hurt with her, and it likely accounts for some of Clark's recent Jimmy Butler battles on the floor. Comparisons are ideal due to the fact because what Butler accomplished in Philadelphia was largely denounced as being unprofessional and detrimental to the culture of the squad. At least Butler remained a top-tier player as he pushed out of the Bonner is 36 years old and obviously on the decrease, but she's behaving as though she has the power of a superstar, followed by Simmons is yet another ideal analogy, since he furthermore sat out and made a trade demand while still covered by the contract. The distinction is Simmons was younger and, in theory, possessed more worth. Bonner is nearing the end of her career and simply demonstrated to each squad in the league she is prepared to leave. What gets her upset when things don't go her way? What's even more absurd about this is that Bonner's grievances regarding her involvement in Indiana appeared to be totally overwhelmed. Was a starter that she received important minutes, she was being included on the team's offensive, wasn't performing to the level that was anticipated, but that doesn't mean you should give up on your mid-season teammates. The fact that she's requesting that teams not take her off waivers demonstrate her increased entitlement. She believes she has complete control over procedure that sets the league's terms and compel herself to go where she wants to go without facing any repercussions. There are repercussions, but they're not. The league's attractive teams are essentially treating Bonner as like she's Currently, no GM wants to be affected by the epidemic. The person who introduces a player who just indicates that she will leave her team when things become difficult, which is harmful to team culture and delivers an awful message to the other roster players. The Mercury's decision maker for hesitation is especially instructive since she truly wants to join one squad if even they are reconsidering their decision about introducing a person who coerced their escape from their prior circumstance that demonstrates how serious this. From the outside, the Phoenix appears to be in a favorable position at the moment with currently, they have a roster construction. Youthful athletes who are making contributions, and why would they buy into their system? Wish to maybe interfere with that for a 36-year-old who recently resigned from her team. Basketball doesn't make sense, or the financial factor in a cultural perspective makes this even more awful for Bonner. She will suffer a major loss. Money as a result of her choice to coerce her way out rather than paying tribute to her contract and receiving her entire pay. It's likely that she will make half of her anticipated earnings. The timing of her leaving this season. What's worse is that this actually happened. Caitlin Clark was returning from injury at the exact moment the team needed veteran leadership above all else. Taking charge and supporting the group during a difficult time, Bonner decided to increase the media's confusion and drama, unwillingness to point the finger at Bonner for this. Making a decision is also annoying, but the NBA's predictable media tends to shield players even when they clearly incorrect choices, yet fans aren't purchasing. They are able to perceive the circumstance for what this is: a seasoned player self-centeredly leaving her team. This sets a bad precedent for the league if players simply give up the middle of the season and push their way to their chosen location without actual repercussions. Why would anyone respect why clubs would spend in their contracts in creating chemistry and culture if players are free to go at any time? What you hope Bonner's legacy will be. This choice has caused irreversible harm rather than being regarded as a solid veteran who made numerous contributions to teams during her professional life. She's going to be known as the player who gave up on the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark. The fact that when they most needed her, in essence, she's waiting for one particular team while under contract demonstrates a total lack of professionalism. She is behaving as though she is larger than the league, larger than contracts, larger than promises that aren't really professional. The way sports operate is unquestionably not how you continue to be respected in the league. Other seasoned players' quiet is typically instructive when a player receives unjust treatment from a company. Other participants express their support for the fact that no one is standing up for Bonner's decision reveals how it is perceived by her colleagues are most likely also worried about the signing of the message. Bonner would forward it to their existing players if you give them a prize for what is leaving their team do. Discuss commitment with your own players and expertise. It's a horrible setting. The Mercury's precedent would also must remove a player to create space. Bonner, which entails interfering with their currently building a roster for someone who just demonstrated her lack of dependability. That's too much danger for so little gain, particularly considering Bonner's age and decreasing output overall. Circumstance is an example of how not to deal with your dissatisfaction with your professional setting as opposed to solving issues with communication with managers and coaches, or just in keeping with your agreement. Bonner selected the nuclear option and set everything on fire. Down. This situation's karma is almost too flawless, she thought. Could work with the system to obtain precisely what she desired, and instead, she is discovering that acts have repercussions. Teams don't desire players. Coaches don't want players who quit. GMs don't desert their comrades. Wish to put money into someone who could, when things get difficult, go. The way Bonner is attempting is just pitiful. to present this as a basketball-related choice, when everyone understands what it's truly about: playing with her girlfriend. Nothing is happening in Phoenix, Alyssa Thomas. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be near your, but don't tell lies about it, partner, and don't give up your work obligations to the fact that she delayed to make it happen until Phoenix's cap space became available, before abruptly concluding that she couldn't play for Indiana anymore is dubious. It almost seems as though this was intended from the start. Take Indiana's wealth and prominence until Phoenix was able to pay for her and then impose a not only unprofessional, but that move